Okay, maybe just a quick video here just to walk through some of the things on Canvas, some of the assignments that you need to do, just so you know where everything's located. So here is our Canvas site. Obviously, important part is announcements. And again, make sure you do check the announcements as there will be some sent throughout the semester. You should also get some notifications that there is an announcement. Again, important information if I forget to kind of tell you. We have the syllabus part here, and the syllabus part basically is just the course information, times, dates, important information about when to drop or not to drop if you need to, about the class, obviously contact information there for me as well. And then pretty much everything else here in Canvas is going to be found in the module section. And as I mentioned, the module section is broken up into basically two parts. The top part here has a little header that says lecture material. So pretty much towards the top of the section, you'll find everything involving lecture. So if you kind of scroll through it here, that's everything involved for lecture. Once you get through like everything for lecture, probably right after exam 4 or the final exam sort of module, you'll roll into really the lab information, and that's towards the bottom. So everything underneath here will be for the lab, and we're going to go through this here in just a second. But again, rolling through the different weeks. So starting back up on top, we have some introductory type stuff. So that is the course syllabus. So again, you could click on it, you could print it. Remember that the syllabus has the schedules in it. So we scroll through here, in addition to everything that you are responsible to know from here, lecture schedule in here. So you should know about what we're lecturing on every time. You'll also find the lab schedule. And again, we don't do all the experiments in labs, so make sure you are following this schedule so that you do the correct pre-labs and have the correct lab sort of printed out for you. Let's go back here to the module section. There is a syllabus quiz, as I mentioned. You will need to take that after you read the syllabus and understand everything. We have some helpful links involving the homework. Also some other things on campus that might be helpful for you. PDF scanner instructions for Adobe Scan. Again, you don't have to use Adobe Scan, but in case you want to, you can use that. Also a periodic table in case you want to use it. This module here has to do with everything from Cengage. So remember that really from Cengage, it looks like you're going to do probably the Cengage Unlimited for most of you. That will give you access to both of these sort of online homework programs that you need to do. Remember, one here is the OWL, which is like textbook homework. And again, this is sort of the registration link that you could use, and you want to use these links here to be put into the correct sort of classes. Make sure you are going through the Canvas site. When you first click on it, if you haven't made a Cengage account, you probably be prompted for your Cengage account. And you could, again, probably either purchase it through them, which again may be the cheaper option. And then you'll have access. Once you sort of register, you should have sort of a dashboard that will take you there. You also want to make sure that you do register for the lab skills, which again is for the laboratory. They're pre-lab questions, so there's 2 of them. Here's some technical support in case you need it. Here will be the office hours link. So soon there'll be some page here. We'll have a link to the Zoom office hours and other office hour information. These are some quick videos on certain topics that we're going to talk about throughout the semester. Just really quick ones, just to kind of get to the point of those specific topics. And there's kind of a video for most things, not every single topic, but for most of the semester, there's some kind of quick videos that might be very helpful for you. This is recorded past lectures module. This is where, as I mentioned, I will be recording the lectures. So that is where they will end up. You could click on them. For example, here is chapter 1's lecture. And again, as you can see here, you could either watch the video right here. You could also click here and that will take you out to YouTube and you can watch it there. So this module will have all the recorded lectures that we do for this semester, and they will sort of populate up there as we go through it. Next, you'll find some exam modules, and this is exam 1 module, and it covers about weeks 1 through 4. These are the lecture notes. And again, if you want to use the lecture notes in class, they're PDF files. They pretty much have most everything on the slides. There's some stuff that you will need to fill in, like examples that we do in class or whatever else sort of comes to my head as we're going through it. But that's where you can find the actual lecture notes. Here's where you'll actually find the homework on OWL. So again, once you register and you sort of set up your Cengage account, you could go to this module or each of these exam modules and individually sort of click on the homework assignment you want to work on. You will click on this and it will basically take you over there to it. And I think I got one right here. So once you do, it'll take you to this assignment. You can see chapter 1 homework. It's set at 70%. So as long as you get 70% of it correct, you will receive 100% for the assignment. If you get less than 70, you'll get a 0. So it's kind of all or nothing, if you will. I would recommend doing all the questions and using it to help you, not just try to get to the 70%, because again, you're not gonna get much out of it. You could hit start the assignment, and I think it will let me do it maybe. Here, there we go. Good. So this is actually, it went to a different one. It's actually the experiment pre-lab, but again, you get sort of the idea there. So you could work through it. You do want to make sure that you do submit it. And again, that is the homework. I had the wrong one open there, but again, you get sort of the idea. You can work on the homework and stop, go back to it. You just need to make sure it's complete by the due date and time. So again, individually, you should be able to link directly to the homework assignments that you want to do. They're in these modules. What else you'll find in these exam modules is some review topics. They'll cover all the topics that we talked about, things you need to know for the exam. There'll also be some other sort of worksheet, more information on certain topics, not collected. The answers are there if there's some type of worksheet, just for some extra practice if you need. So here's exam 2 again. Not up there right now, but there will be the exam 2 notes for chapters 4, 11, 12, and 5. Here are the individual homework assignments. And again, some more review material. Exam 3, same deal. Lecture notes will be there. Again, our homework for each of the individual assignments and review material. In exam 4, same deal. Chapter homeworks, lecture notes will be there eventually here. Exam review material. Again, for the finals here, just a little bit about the last chapter we're going to do there is chapter 17. Homework for that, also lecture notes will be up there as well. Now we get to the bottom here, we have our lab material and a bunch of information about lab, and really explains sort of everything that you need to do for the lab, for the pre-labs. Also, by the way, this information can be found on the syllabus under the laboratories part of it, and also go and explain sort of what you need to do. This again is where you can find the entire lab manual. If you choose to print out your lab experiments, remember you do need a paper copy with you for lab. No electronic copies or anything like that will be accepted. So you can print it out. A reminder, as I mentioned, we're not doing every experiment, so don't print the entire manual, just print the experiments that you need. Other than that, like I mentioned, probably a more cheaper option is just to purchase a pre-printed one from the bookstore. I think it's less than $10 and it's probably cheaper than printing it out with your ink and paper and all that. The lab modules are broken up by weeks, and they'll explain sort of what we're doing each week. So for example, this first week, activity 1 and check into our lockers. Week 2, experiment 2 and experiment 3, a reminder that those are mandatory experiments, and also week 1 is mandatory for safety concerns. If you miss either of those weeks, you will be dropped from the course, so make sure that you do show up. Now, we do have, like I said, for every experiment, 2 different pre-labs, and that's where you can find the assignments in these lab modules. So this is the pre-lab, which I call written pre-lab and pre-lab questions, and if you click on it, it will here explain what you need to do. Essentially, what you need to do is write a minimum of a page of the procedures you're going to perform, the equipment you're going to use in your own words. So do not copy the lab manual word for word. You need to kind of look at it and do it in your own words. It doesn't have to be complete sentences. It could be more of a flow chart. It could be pictures. Does need to have some words, not just pictures, but kind of a flow chart with some description. Enough that I know that you read the experiment, you understand what's happening. And again, do not copy it word for word or really at all. Just try to use your own words and descriptions. In addition to that, when you look at the labs, there will be some questions marked as pre-lab questions. Actually, let me go back and see. I can pull one up from that lab manual. So drop that down here. And actually, where's that lab? There it is. We'll just click on it just to show you this again is the entire lab manual, and that's not what I wanted. Wrong button. I'll do this. Come down, let's just find a lab here. For example, that'll work. So for example, here, take a look at one here. Look at experiment 5. Just I'm scrolling through it. So basically all the labs will look like this. There'll be a little introduction to the experiment. There will be the actual procedure you're going to perform in the experiment. And again, this is what your written sort of pre-lab summary is going to be like. You need to go through each of these steps and each of these parts of the experiments. And again, in your own words, write it down on paper. It needs to be handwritten, the procedures and the equipment you're going to be using. You then will find a data table. This data table is basically filled out during the experiment. So when you physically go do the experiment, you'll fill out that data table. There usually is going to be, and there's not actually on this one, but there may also be some boxes labeled calculations, and that's where you're going to show your calculations. And in this particular one, there is no calculations. And then you'll come across some questions labeled as pre-lab questions. And these pre-lab questions also need to be completed before the experiment and put in with your written pre-lab of the summary of the experiment and turned into Canvas. So this is sort of like a Canvas pre-lab that you need to do. There's also post-lab questions on some experiments as well. So you just need to do the ones labeled pre-lab. Okay, so for this pre-lab assignment, any questions labeled on the actual experiment needs to be answered. That's labeled pre-lab. You need to, again, read the entire procedure and write up a summary of the entire procedure. Both of those things together need to be turned into this assignment here. For example, let me go back to where we were here. So again, that would be, for example, for experiment 2, this is where, again, you would click and upload your file here. It does need to be a single PDF file that has both of those things in it, the summary, and also the pre-lab questions answered. So that is one pre-lab you have to do for each experiment that we do. The second pre-lab that you need to do is the Cengage pre-lab, and that's called online here. So again, when you click on it, you can click out to Cengage. I can't. I think I have it open. Actually, I'll go back here. This is actually experiment 2's pre-lab. And as you can see, you can start the assignment. And again, you have several questions to answer. Make sure on some, especially the first few, there are some where there's multiple right answers. So make sure you choose all that applies on some of those. After the first or second pre-lab, I think they don't come in too many of those type of questions, but there are some questions where you got to click multiple boxes. Again, make sure you submit your answer, make sure you finish the assignment and submit it. So again, those are the 2 pre-labs you need to do for each physical experiment. And any experiment that's labeled an experiment, like experiment 2, experiment 3 will have 2 pre-labs. Experiments labeled activities, they're actually labeled activity, like activity 1, activity 9, activity 10, activity 11. They do not have any pre-labs. So any activity sort of experiment, if you will, that's labeled as an activity will not have any pre-labs associated with it. Those that are labeled experiments, like experiment 2, experiment 3, experiment 4, and so forth, those will have 2 pre-labs. Again, a written pre-lab and a Cengage pre-lab. Both of these need to be completed the night before. If you fail to complete either of these pre-lab assignments, you will not be allowed to do the actual physical experiment the next day, and you will receive a 0, which you do not want to do. Remember, on days where we're doing 2 experiments in one day, you actually will have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 pre-labs, 2 written and 2 Cengage pre-labs that need to be done for the 2 experiments that day. On weeks where we have just 1 experiment, like here, You have basically just two pre-labs, the written pre-lab and the Cengage pre-lab. So that is where you can find all that, and it goes all the way through. You can see listed here what we're going to be doing at each of these places and each of these times. So you should know exactly what's going on every week in lab. And you should also obviously know what's going on in lecture, which is what we can find here. Again, that's pretty much our quick tour of the Canvas site and some of the assignments that you need to do. So hopefully it was helpful for you and where you could find those things. So I'll see you probably in a couple of days or so. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.